Alright, welcome back everyone for another video. So, my last video I did a John 1 redo. Today I am looking at doing a Genesis 2 redo. So, as usual, if the chapter I'm doing is not too long, I will go ahead and read it out loud, and then I'll go ahead and kind of point out some things that I've been noticing and share what I've learned from this. And if you guys got some other things that you guys might have learned that I missed, go ahead and comment below and let me know, and I will add them into my next Genesis video. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so as you guys know, we had just finished with God's creating days 1 through 6. Now we're continuing on from there. It says, "Thus the heavens and the earth and all the host of them were finished. And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, blessed in it." Why did I say blessed in it? Then God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it he rested from all his work which God had created and made. This is the history of the heavens and the earth when they were created in the day that the Lord God had made. Lord God made the earth and the heavens. Before any plant of the field was in the earth, and before any herb of the field had grown, for the Lord God had not caused it to rain on the earth, and there was no man to till the ground. But a mist went up from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. The Lord God planted a garden eastward of Eden, and in there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground the Lord God had made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight, and good for food. The tree of life was also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it parted and became 4 riverheads. The name of the first is, now do not condemn me if I butcher these, because I'm probably going to, Pishon. It is the one that skirts the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. Bdellium, and the onyx stone are there. The name of the second river is Gihon, and it is the one which goes around the whole land of Cush. The name of the third river is Hiddekel. I don't know. It is the one which goes toward the east of Assyria. The fourth river is Euphrates. Then the Lord God took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to tend and keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, "Of every tree of the garden you may eat freely, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die." And the Lord God said, "It is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helper compatible to him." Out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every bird of the air, and brought them to Adam to see what he would call them. And whatever Adam called each living creature, that was its name. So Adam gave names to all cattle, to birds of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helper compatible to him. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall on Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in its place. Then the rib which the Lord God had taken from man, he made into a woman, and he brought her to the man. And Adam said, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother, and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And they were both naked, and the man and his wife were not ashamed." So now let's go back. If I can get the page changed. Alright, so as I said, we've already in Genesis 1 we already learned that the 6 days were already created, like the heavens, the earth, the darkness, the land, sea, ocean, creatures, and everything. And now we're getting the point that in day 7, God now creates man. He creates humans. He creates them. Stop. Okay. So, 7th day, as I just explained, he rests on that day because it is important and necessary for people to take a break after they work so hard all week. And he sanctified it. I mean, it's a holy day in a sense. It is a blessed day of rest where you don't work, you just relax and take a break from whatever work you did the entire week. Now, before, when we were in Genesis 1, if you guys have noticed, we were reading God. But in this verse, where was it? Verse 4, where it says that the Lord, and it's all in cap locks. And that is because it is the Hebrew word for Yahweh. See if there's a way to pronounce it. Is there a way to pronounce it? No, of course not. It is YHWH. It is the Hebrew word for. Where is it? I don't know. I don't know. It's basically just, it's a Hebrew word for Lord, basically. It's his actual official name or whatever it is. And then God is the Hebrew word Elohim, which is Elohim, which means God of all. But Yahweh is more of a relational term. Okay, so obviously we already know because God rested the day, and he created the world to water itself, which is, like I said, because there's no one to till it yet. And that's the reason why he put man, Adam, into the garden. And there was no rain. And I don't think, it doesn't really say it, but I'd have to go back into Genesis 5 or 6 or whatever it is and reread it again. But it says that is when the flood happens, that is when it first rains. So obviously we know God was created from dust and God breathed life into us, which means he gave us life from dirt, from completely worthless. Then he created the garden for man to live in, and the garden formed from the earth. Now, I wanted to keep point to this. It is not emphasizing of a house. So elaborate things such as a house, stuff, like all of this stuff came from sin. I mean, as the end of the chapter says, they were naked and they were completely unashamed. Now, if you know anything about the creation story, you guys know that the minute Adam and Eve do sin, that is when they become. What was I going with this? Oh, sorry. The minute they sin. So when Adam and Eve both sin because they eat of the actual fruit, and I'm not trying to give you guys ruin the coming up chapters if you guys haven't read it, but if you guys have, you guys obviously know, like I said, that is how we get to where we are. They sin, and then at that point they realize that, hey, they're naked. And that, including being naked, that doesn't come until after the very first sin. So the simplicity of life was happiness prior to sin. So in a sense, minimalism, which is kind of what we're trying to do, minus the weapons, of course. That does not count. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole river stuff because I really don't I really don't find those important. It just kind of tells you, hey, this is where the garden is. These kind of things. There's a river that runs through it. I personally don't find important, but unfortunately, just because we know the river's names does not mean we can find Eden. And the main reason why we can't find Eden again is because of the flood, which I'm not going to go into right now because that will take away from my my flood video. So I'm going to say that for that. But like I'm just saying, just because we have the river's names and kind of general idea of where they are does not mean we can go to those and find Eden. Okay, it's not there. It's not going to be there. We don't know where Eden is. I mean, even if we did find Eden, there's no guarantee that it is actually Eden. Okay, there's no guarantee that it's actually on Earth. Either way, Eden was there at one point and it's not now. So just okay, so then if you guys notice, where was it? Okay, here we go. It says, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him helper. This is the very first time God says it is not good. The very first time he says anything is not good. Everything else he says is good. And that is where it goes into the helper part. And it brings... He's trying to make up for him being alone by bringing him these creatures, the creatures he already created, and having them give him names, which he said he did give him names like the tiger, the lion, the cheetah, the bamboo. Well, all of these he named all of these creatures, and at the end of it, God had figured out, hey, these guys are still not compatible for him. Let's create someone who looks exactly like him, just a female version of it. And that's when he decided to take one of Adam's ribs and created woman. That's where we finally get Eve. And that is where they become the whole marriage thing. I just lost my train of thought. So the point to the whole point to this chapter is you get to see the relationship between Adam and God, which is it's a really tight thing because he's actually walking with God. He's actually communicating with him. He is talking to him on a very personal level. He has a very personal relationship with God, which we can have today. It just won't be the same as it was at that very moment. At least I don't think so. I really don't think we can have the exact same kind of relationship as he currently has in that point, but we can have a personal relationship with him as of at this moment. The other thing I want to point out too is the fact that they're using the very first thing, they are using the relational name, and Adam is able to talk to him, he's able to walk with him, and he's able to actually have this very personal, like I said, very personal relationship with him. Another thing I would like to point out too is the fact that God puts him in the garden and he provides for him on everything he needs. He provides him food, he provides him company with the animals, he provides him with water because there's rivers running through it. He provides him with shelter because obviously there's trees. It's a garden. He got everything he possibly can need in that garden. The only thing that he's not able to do is eat of that one tree. I know it's kind. Then from that one verse where he said this is not good for man to be alone, that is where it comes to the fact that community is an essential thing for a Christian, because we're not meant to be alone in the aspect of relationship wise, like personal relationship, like couples. Couples are not meant, like a single person is not meant to be alone. They're meant to have a husband, a boyfriend that eventually lead into being married. That's what we're meant for. But on top of that too, we're meant to have other relationships with other Christians, like friendships. We're supposed to have sisters, we're supposed to have brothers, we're supposed to have these kind of fellowship with other Christians and be part of this community. That is kind of what we're meant to have. And that is one of the things that I kind of took from that one verse itself. It is not good that man to be alone. We're meant to be with other Christians, with other believers, and we're meant to have our, like, let's say our soulmate, our husband, our wife, our kids. That's kind of what we're made for. And that is one of the things that it goes into, I think it's at the end of at the end of chapter 3, where it goes on to say, hey, you sinned, you're gonna get kicked out of Eden, go out and have kids. Your childbirth, unfortunately, is gonna be it's gonna be painful, but go out and prosper. This is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to have family, you're supposed to make friends, you're supposed to have community, you're supposed to do this, yada yada yada. And that is a lot saying, conveyed into one little verse. Very short verse at that, but it proves that there is a lot of meaning behind the Bible and a lot of meaning behind the verses that we are reading. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons why I've been doing these studies. I don't get to go out very often. Unfortunately, I have not been able to go to church. Mainly because the fact is that it's not that I don't want to go, it's the fact that church is very early in the morning. And, well, I work graveyard shifts, so my weekends are kind of spent trying to catch up on sleep. So, yes, I do know there is a service at 11 o'clock, but if I, with me working a graveyard shift, I am barely waking up at 10 o'clock. And I'm still kind of, it almost feels like I'm hungover. I don't drink, but I stay up all day Friday to make sure I can sleep through the night of Friday night. And even still into Saturday night and into Sunday, because I'm so used to staying up at night. Sometimes I'll stay up in the middle of the night on Saturdays and Sundays, or Fridays and Saturdays, and then I'll wake up the next morning kind of feeling like I'm hungover because I stayed up, even though I should have been sleeping. And so I tend to miss church on the weekends, on Sunday. So a lot of the times I will do my church online, because that's, even though I have Sunday off, it's just I don't make it on time to it. So the best I can do is these. This is my best way of having some kind of community and sharing what I'm learning with you guys. Yeah, I mean, I tried my best, and if it's not good enough, then I mean, I don't know. I think I personally feel every single time I post a video, I am getting better. I am learning more. I'm trying to make my videos better. I'm trying to make them more entertaining for you guys to want to watch them. I did finally dig out this. The problem is, it does not connect to my phone. It is a USB connector. It connects to a computer, not a phone. So I have to get a whole new cord that'll connect the USB to USB and then allow it to connect to my phone in order to use this. On top of this, on top of my my videos here, I am actually looking at starting a podcast. A just kind of rambling podcast. I'm actually considering calling it Christian Ramblings, or I literally just kind of go off the deep end and talk about whatever, as long as it is Christian based and kind of something like that, and just maybe Bible stories, or I know there's some people who do what is it called? I cannot think of the word for it. The people who tell scary stories. I've been considering about doing the opposite of that and actually telling Christian stories instead of scary stories. And just kind of going off that. But yes, that is something I am actually considering doing, is starting a podcast on Spotify. And yeah, so it's in the works. I'm looking into it. But right now I'm kind of just doing my YouTube videos. Unfortunately, because I'm not getting as many subscribers and watchers and viewers as I was hoping I was gonna get, I figured Spotify might be a easier choice, because I'm not actually trying to do video. I'm just doing a voice. I'm actually just talking, and I can talk about whatever I want and not have to worry about where I am, as long as I have my speaker, my microphone. I can record anywhere, versus camera. I kind of have to be in a set area with good lighting, and I have to be able to. Trying to do a video is a lot more complicated than doing a podcast, I personally think, because camera. But anyways, I'm gonna end this video for the day and try and get some sleep. So I will see you guys in next video. You guys know the drill. Subscribe, share, comment, bell button. Have a good one, guys.